we all have the same information. I want to start off by thanking you. Very last minute calls to action and please show up and be a voice for our city went out. And for instance, on Wednesday at the public hearing at the Capitol, I know a lot of you were turned away. I've heard from many of you, but I would dare say 80 to 85% of the people that were there and made comment were South Salt Lake residents or businesses. And so for being the smallest city in this fight, we sure did have a big voice at the Capitol. So I just want to thank you for that. When we scheduled this meeting last night, we were hopeful that we would not be having this conversation. We were hopeful that we would be able to cancel it and move on. But I did attend the community evaluation committee meeting and was concerned about the comments that I heard surrounding the South Salt Lake sites. So we felt that we would just rather be prepared, and we wanted to hear from you because all of the functions that we've held so far have been county functions. And now that we know site specific, we want to hear from our residents. We want to know what we can go to the table to negotiate with the state and with the county to mitigate the impact on our community. So, in case you missed the news, we were selected, and the site that was selected was Site E, which is 3380 South, 10th West. We are concerned. It's close to the Jordan River. We have long-time residents on that street that have been here for decades and have fought to keep that ag zone intact. It's also adjacent to one of our newest communities, our riverfront community, that has done so much to stabilize that neighborhood down there. So needless to say, we are disappointed, we are frustrated, and we are angry. Our neighbors and businesses have stood together, residents have come out, and we've fought this fight together. So again, I thank you for that. You know, I think as a community we expressed our concerns well. I think that we had a very compelling argument why we were not the site for the Homeless Resource Center. Not quite sure where the communication breakdown was or why it didn't matter. Tonight is an important step in the future of our community. There are still many unknowns, but there are also many opportunities available to us. So we just want to let you know that we have been meeting all day long and working on what our next steps look like. Mayor McAdams held his press conference today, and he praised us as a community of strength. And he also made some commitments to our community. And I just want to be the first one in the council that feels the same. And we're missing a few council members, I have to apologize. I was supposed to tell you that at the first. We've got some out of town council members, but we are still united in our fight of this and what the next steps look like. Back to McAdams' commitments to our community. He made a commitment to advocate for South Salt Lake with significant investments in open space, transportation, infrastructure, and many amenities like the library. And we just want to say, many of you know that the library was already a part of the conversation that we were having at the future granite development, but they were looking at us to purchase the property that the library would be built on. And so I think when he's saying that, he's saying that they're going to look at not making the city have to take in, but I'm not going to speak for Mayor McAdams. But I did want to bring that up, that that's not new today. Most importantly, he said construction would not begin until legislation was passed next session that would provide some kind of a continued funding source for this resource center. We feel like that gives us some time, and we're going to take advantage of that time to address what we feel as critical issues so that we make sure that the impact on our community is as small as it can be. And we will hold McAdams to his word. Tonight, my priority is to make sure that you have the most recent information and that we remain unified and resourceful as we move forward. We're here to answer your questions tonight. We have a brief presentation just to bring you to speed on what we know, and then after we'll take questions, concerns, comments. We'll log them over here. We're making a list of demands or large asks when we go to talk with the county and also with the state. So let's start by looking at the property that was selected. And just by the comments that were made in the committee meeting yesterday, we expected the 9th West site to be selected, not this 10th West, so that was a surprise to us. Right now, we're gathering info on what the impacts are. We have some longtime residents down there. This will be at the end of their street. The Jordan River Trail, proximity to schools, a new school, parks, and new parks that we have slated to be developed down there, businesses and neighborhoods. We are also looking at what developments might be at risk. So Mayor McAdams has made some commitments through this process. The first one is in his comments about evaluation at the evaluation committee meeting yesterday. He discussed low need population. And so when we asked what low need population means, he said that based on the distance that this is from downtown resources, that this has to be the lowest need of resources, meaning, he said, I think that Draper City went to thinking that was women and children. He said, but actually when you look at the scale of need, that single men with jobs is a lower need. So it's not a walk-in, it would be based on referral. So we plan on keeping him to all of those commitments. In his letter to Lieutenant Governor Hawks this morning, he says that he will not support any site if there is not funding in the next legislative session, a bill to fund, to provide ongoing funding. Improvements to Jordan River, his comment to me is that his commitment is to leave the Jordan River better than he's finding it. So we're gonna hold him to that. We're researching what investments in transportation and open space mean with him, so that we can get you that information. And we'll basically be going with some asks as well. Commitment to new amenities like the library, and I've heard rec center, and maybe a new senior citizen center. So we'll be working on all those items. What does our path forward look like? Litigation, we've been asked about litigation. HB 441 was crafted very well. It took all of our power as a city away from us. And so there does not look like right now, we are continuing to research everything, but it does not look like right now there is a path to litigate. So the financial demands that it's going to create on our city, again, we will be going to both the county and the state. We feel like this was brought to our community by both Salt Lake County and the state of Utah. So we will be having conversations with them. We, as a council and mayor, are committed to you that we will not be raising taxes so that you are not subsidizing another undesirable regional use in our community. That's a commitment we're making right now. There's a lot of talk about de-annexation. We are looking into that, but we want you to know at the end of the day, we want to provide our businesses and residents with the best service. So we want to look at what the options are and see what that does in our ability to provide service to you, because I think that we care about you a whole lot and what happens in the neighborhoods, and I don't know necessarily that turning that over to the county is the answer, so we're looking at that. Interlocal agreement. This is a binding legal document, so any of these commitments that are made to us, these promises that are made to us, will be in an interlocal agreement. And what that means is that councils can change, administrations can change, but what we get from the county will not change. So we will make sure that everything that is done in an interlocal agreement. Mitigation of neighborhood impacts, that's why we're here tonight. We really want to hear from you on what we can do in our negotiations to help you feel safer around this shelter. We're thinking that maybe there are some restrictions on population and design as they're designing the facility. We'll have our police department weigh in with crime prevention through environmental design and set kind of principles. Influence on shelter population and management. We're going to see if we can get a board seat on the managing arm of the shelter. We're looking to see what that looks like, and then also again to see if we can influence any restrictions on what can come in, be allowed in the shelter. And then finally, Jordan River improvements. We're looking at regular cleanup schedule for the county. Right now, we currently go down there 4 times a year with the county health department, and that's about what we've been able to do. I think we need to step that up, and we owe that to our residents. And then also, a lot of our conversation today also was around potential new ways to police the Jordan River, if that looks like a task force or something to do different. As a side note, in the evaluation committee meeting, somebody mentioned mounted police officers to police the trails. So right now, everything's on the table. We're looking at whatever impact this may have on our community. But again, we are committed to the fight. We just want to say thank you one more time for coming out. Every time we've asked, these 2.5 weeks have been crazy, and just I want to personally thank my staff who have spent a lot of time, personal time, working on this battle. So we're going to turn it over to you. This is your time. If you have questions, we have a microphone out here. If you want to, we'll try to answer those questions.